Hey everyone, I am Catherine Kellogg. Welcome back to the Going Zero Waste YouTube channel, and this is Nala. She has decided to grace us with her presence today, which is always a good day. I'm so excited to be sharing with you 7 sustainable book reads that I've read with my book club this year, some of my favorites. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my video with the YouTube algorithm, and please comment down below if you have read any of these books because I think they're wonderful. I left out my own book though, because I don't know, is it weird to host a book club and read your own book? I'm not sure how I feel about that, but obviously I think my book is pretty great. So I am gonna do a shameless plug. So I guess this is 7 books, the environmental books you should read. My book is 101 Ways to Go Zero Waste, and it is a great eco-friendly, actionable handbook that you can read cover to cover, or you can just pick up one of the 101 tips, know everything you need to know about that topic, and then go about your day. I think it's a great read. You should absolutely pick it up. I'm going to link to all the books down below in the description box, as well as a link to book club in case you're interested in signing up. Book club is really a ton of fun. It is done through my email list. There's a big email list I have, and we all just kind of read the same book. We have about 2 months to read a book. You don't have to buy books from me or anything like that. I encourage you to check them out from your library or read them digitally or download them so you can listen to them, or pick up a hard copy if you want to support the author. There are so many different ways, and I encourage you to do it any way that you see fit. And then we get together for about an hour every 2 months to chat about the book. It's always a great time to connect with like-minded individuals. So if that's something that interests you, I will link to that down below as well. So let's get to our first book. The first book on the list that we all read is Estro Generation. I really like this book because it really puts into perspective a lot of the endocrine disruptors that we run into in our daily lives. So endocrine disruptors are things that interfere with our hormone systems. And personally for me, I started living a more sustainable life because I was trying to balance my hormones and lead a healthier lifestyle. And this book is really great. It covers everything from beauty products, cleaning products. It gives you guides on ways that you can reduce your exposure to endocrine disruptors. One of those main ones, of course, being plastic. It really ties the human health aspect to the plastic planetary crisis. And I think it's a great read, especially for people who maybe aren't as interested in the environmental aspect. It really brings in the health aspect. So this is a book that I really enjoyed. I think the author talks way too much about fishing. Unfortunately, it's not a ton, but it's definitely, he does talk a lot about fish. I find those parts to be a little boring and tended to skip over those, but his really meaty information about endocrine disruptors, plastics, things like mattresses and other daily products, excellent. Very good. One of the next books that we read that I really loved is Sustainability: A History. Now, if you love English and the language and words and etymology, this is the book for you. I'm a total nerd about all of those things, and this looks at the history and the origins of the terms and the words we use in sustainability, and how we got to using these very buzzy words now and where they came from back then. And what's really interesting about the book is it shows that many of the problems we're facing now, we were facing in the 1600s. Things like the energy crisis. Many people burn trees. In fact, Europe was so deforested for burning wood for energy that we were in a massive crisis. So sustainability, the term, came from reforestation. So it's really interesting to trace the history of how these words came about. Now, the author goes in to specifically say that he is looking at this strictly from the European lens. Indigenous cultures have been practicing true sustainability for centuries, and we can learn so much from them. But this book is looking specifically at it in the English language. So my next book, which is my all-time favorite book, which I reread, is Braiding Sweetgrass. This is a wonderful book written by Dr. Robin Wall Kimmerer. She doesn't have the doctor in front of her name on the cover, but I always think it's really important to mention that she is a doctor because she worked hard for that title and she deserves to be called doctor. At least that's how I see it. This is a beautiful love story to the earth. And this book completely flipped my entire perspective on sustainability. This involves a lot of indigenous knowledge and shows how indigenous cultures have loved the earth, have cared for the earth, it talks about how that is so ingrained in their society. I think it was a very, very important book to read after Sustainability: A History, simply because that was a very Eurocentric book, since it revolved around the English language, to now move into this book, which talks a lot about her own native language and how through their words and how they speak about the earth is entirely different from how English speaks about the earth. In English, the world is very, it's an it. And then in her language, it's not. And there's almost personage assigned to the earth and all of its inhabitants. It's absolutely gorgeous. And she's a scientist. And so it's also her looking from a scientific lens as well as through her roots and indigenous culture and how those come together. And it's just so beautiful. And if you want to read something uplifting and positive and something that is just going to bring a smile to your face and make you think about sustainability so differently, I highly recommend it. Next book we read is Story of Stuff, written by Leonard. Now, this book takes a really deep dive into the systems and processes and how basically the world of stuff works, how our things get from point A to point B, how they go from resources to becoming fully idealized products, and how that's also shifted over the course of time. I know many of you are probably familiar with planned obsolescence, where companies design things cheaply and they break easy, because the faster it breaks, the more likely you are to buy a new product, which means they increase their profits. So she really takes a deep dive and look at some of these. And she worked at Greenpeace and worked on some really, really cool campaigns. But I will warn you, out of all the books, this one is a little bit more of a downer in the beginning. It gets better at the end, offers more hopeful and actionable solutions, but it can be a little bit of a heavy read halfway through. So I'm just giving you a warning. In my book club, it's really important that we are reading actionable books. I don't want books that just present a problem. I want books that also present solutions. I want books that have ways that we can take action and make sure that we are acting on what we're reading about and working to fix it. Which brings me to the last book of the year. We're actually having our meeting on November 19th. So if you're reading this before then, you want to read this book, you want to jump into this meeting, be sure you sign up for book club. I'm going to link it down below, and that is all we can save. I actually have this one right here next to me. This book is amazing. I love this book so incredibly much. I will say I am only halfway through the book, but so far it has been awesome. It is poems, artists, and 60 women essayists who are involved in climate, and it is absolutely wonderful. I also think it's wonderfully intersectional, and it discusses so many different viewpoints from different people and who are in different fields, and it is so actionable. I mean, the tagline is truth, courage, and solutions for the climate crisis. And honestly, I could not have phrased it any better myself. This book is amazing. And if you need some hope, and if you want to be inspired, and it's great because it is these short essays that are only a few pages long, that you can read it. It's really easy to break up into chunks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And also, if you do enjoy audiobooks, which I do. I take this one on a walk often, and we walk for about an hour at a time, and it's great to be able to listen to a book. And the audio book for this, the cast is an all-star cast. Seriously, I'm just gonna list some of the celebrities over here. Just an absolute all-star cast of people reading this book. It's great. 10 out of 10. Recommend. I really hope that you are inspired to check out a few new books if you're interested in sustainability, and I would love to see you in book club. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Please give this a thumbs up. Let me know if you've read any of these in the comment section down below, and I will see you next week with a new video.